All right, hello, and welcome back to a special bonus episode of the Agents Unleashed podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Maybrier, and I'm a producer at Valory, one of the core contributors to OLIS. We're currently hard at work bringing you the second season of Agents Unleashed, but I wanted to take this opportunity to recap the recent Agents Unleashed event that just took place in Singapore. There were a lot of great talks and presentations, and I have to say it was not easy to choose my favorites, but I've done my best, and I've selected a few moments from the different talks, panels, and presentations that I think are worth checking out. I'd also like to encourage you to watch the entire videos. You'll be able to do that at the playlist that I've set up. You can find a link to that in the description box or the show notes wherever you get the podcast. All right, so we'll get straight into it with a clip from Victor Notaro, who opened the conference. Victor's talk gets into some important ideas that really embody the entire thesis of the event, the user ownership of AI. Take a listen.
Right now, we are really reproducing what we saw with Web 2, which is a little bit of a digital feudalism. The platform are in rent-only access. Centralized platform get the best out of it, and your users really don't own and don't control their services. There is a concentration of power where the big platforms really capture all the value and don't give back that much to the users. And then first, there is a real problem with privacy, where we're gonna give so much of our private information to those platforms that we could end up in a Black Mirror episode. So we have users going to Pearl, and within Pearl, they are running agents, and those agents, they are making transactions on the marketplace. And we have this economic flywheel that is happening where the more users we're getting on Pearl, the more agents are being run, the more transactions are happening, and the marketplace is capturing fees. So the faster the flywheel spins, the more OLAS gets burned via the fees captured via the marketplace.
Next up was Danny Zuckerman from Recall, explaining how Recall is approaching the thorny problem of model trust. That is to say, how do we know which AI models are safe to hand off which types of tasks?
We need to flip it from these gamed benchmarks into some form of evaluation that we can really trust to know which AIs should we use for any given task, or which should we avoid because they have their own interests, or they're unreliable, or maybe they're serving the interests of their creator, not the user. We want some way to evaluate which AIs to trust that is based on real-world performance, not some static, false simulation. We want real evals that we know are not gamed, not benchmarked. So that's what Recall is working on. We call it skill markets, and it's an arena for AIs to prove themselves in the skills that we care about with market forces that all of us play a role in and can have a stake in guiding the development of trustworthy AI. At a very high level, any of us can fund the skills that we care about. We can open up a market or participate in a market that we need AI for, or that we believe we know something about what it means to be good at that skill. AIs, models, agents can compete in the challenges associated with that skill. And the results of that go on-chain, tamper-proof records of how different AIs performed. And then the community, all of us, can play a role curating what evals at any given time are part of those skills. Because again, we can't have those be static, because AIs are going to improve, sometimes in ways that mirror real-world improvement, but sometimes in ways because they're training for the test. And so that tamper-proof performance and the market signals behind the evals and the AIs create this really rich ranking system that tells us what AIs are good for what skills at any given time. And so that ranking gives us a new way to discover what AIs should we use for any given skill, which ones are actually trustworthy versus which ones are just hyping themselves up. So the Recall skill markets are a way for all of us to have a stake in the development of AI and secure trust in AI that we want to use.
This event featured a recurring panel topic, prediction markets. In the moment that I'm about to share, moderator Jordi Alexander asked Supafund's Adrian Lai about getting exposure to the sector when many popular platforms like Kalshi, Polymarket don't yet have tokens. Here's his answer.
Well, prediction markets, I think, are doing massive volume in the last couple months. And there is a huge spike in prediction market projects and their corresponding tokens leading to indexes on Kaito and other token tracking platforms. But I think to us, and just to kind of double tap on what Ben was speaking about, the bigger opportunity is not necessarily the prediction market as the market or the token for that project, but the bigger market that prediction markets as decision markets enable. As information aggregation engines, if you have all kinds of extremes, from insiders to retail, and then you combine AI and humans together to inform decisions, I think that market is going to be very interesting, or that concept is going to be very interesting, and that is quite nascent at the moment.
Now, in another memorable moment from the same panel, Jordi asked the panelists to give a rating on AI agents from 0 to 10, with 0 being all hype and 10 being all substance. Here's how Nevermind's Don Gossen sees it.
0 to 10.
0 to 10?
0 is like all hype.
I mean, okay, I've been wandering in the AI agent wilderness for 10 years, so fucking 10. Like, we're having this conversation and everybody in this audience knows what an agent is. Last year, they would have been like, what's an agent? Explain an agent to me. So I do think it has been the year of the agent, just because it's actually entered the lexicon.
Worth pointing out, this is only half of Don's answer. If you want to get the full story, check out the playlist where you'll find a video of this panel, plus all of the other talks and presentations from the event. You can find that link in the description box or the show notes wherever you get the podcast. Next, we'll jump ahead to the second panel of the evening, where moderator Leah Callan-Butler asked a controversial question. TM Lee from CoinGecko was the first to answer. Check it out.
AI agents and their projects, do they actually need tokens, or is that just distracting from the use case? Go.
Well, I mean, on CoinGecko, we see millions and millions of tokens. And I think we see, at least personally, I see a future where there will be anything that can be tokenized will be tokenized, and there's just going to be more and more tokens in the place. If you're an AI agent or you're any crypto company, yes, I think everyone always think about, should you do a token? But the question you always ask yourself is, does it make sense or not? I think there are some projects in the room here that has some tokenomics, has some incentive system, then yes, go ahead and do the token. But if your token is just something for attention and something that you just latch on for memes, and it's going to be a little bit of a danger zone over there, especially if there's nothing backing it. So yes, if you have a tokenomics that makes sense behind the hood. No, if it's just a token that you just put out there with no plans at all.
Also on the same panel, we heard from Med at Bond.credit about how much trust we should put in autonomous AI agents.
I think this question summarizes a little bit what we're building as well when it comes to scoring those agents and reputation of them. I think you should not give agent access without accountability, and that's where we're actually building this risk score. Like, capital should go to those agents based on their proven track and what they do, and that's like something that I think we're doing a very good job, like to analyze those agents and see where the money is allocated, audit everything. We have like even sentiments, we have like more than 50 metric to track on behalf of the user. So it's more like risk adjusted. We can actually give them if that risk is adjusted. If you just want to throw your money out of that agent without doing this, it's a little bit risky.
Next up, Iason Rovis from Valory took the stage to tease the upcoming release of version 1 of Pearl, the AI agent app store by Olus. Now, the Pearl app has been in beta for some time, and so finally this fall we're going to get the first full version. In this clip, Iason explains the principles behind Pearl v1.
It combines the simplicity of modern applications with the benefits of decentralization. Many agents, one app store, a single place so you can run and manage different agents at the same exact software, an app. And third, full transparency, no cuts. It's built on open principles for transparency and visibility of its activity. And the process is beautiful, simple. You just download the app from the website, and then you can use just your payments card and your social accounts like Google or Apple to set the Pearl account and the agents. You use the payments card to fund the agent and the social accounts to create a backup wallet for security. And as you can see, so far, there's no need of any Web3 experience, not even understanding. You just use simple Web2 tools. And then you just run the agent at the click of a button, and you're enjoying the benefits.
Now, the last clip that I have for you today is from GAIA's Sydney Lai. In this moment from her talk, she helps to explain the difference between a bot and an autonomous AI agent.
This chasm between agents and autonomous agents, sometimes people think of agents like bots because bots can be deterministic. They have a very specific if then that statement because they are built to help address something very specific. And once you go past that specific parameter, then the agent experience becomes really, really annoying. And then you're like, wow, I really wish I just could call like a customer service person instead of talking to this, did I help you? Agent. And the autonomous aspect here of all of this here, the autonomous aspect is really about how do you create a application layer, an autonomous agent that has context and understand nuance so that it can make a decision based off of the highest probability that you want something to happen, right? So what you can see here is that that's the biggest difference between the bot and an autonomous agent.
All right, so that's all that I have for you on this special bonus episode of the show. Like I said at the top, we're currently working on season 2. It'll be coming out very soon, so make sure to subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and that you're following the Olus X account, that's @Autonomous, so you don't miss that first episode when it drops. All right, thank you for watching. This has been the Agents Unleashed podcast, and I will see you next time.